So my name is Morgan Hess, and I'm the Youth Vote Project Coordinator at the League of Women Voters St. Paul.
And my name is Grace Reardon. I am a St. Paul League of Women Voters Youth Civic Engagement Fellow.
This is the last in a series of 3 videos about the voter registration process in Minnesota. And in this one, we'll discuss how to register to vote via a paper registration form. So if you'd like to register via paper form in Minnesota, the first thing you'll need to do is navigate to the Secretary of State's website. You can do this by typing Secretary of State MN into Google. It'll be the first link that comes up. Once you reach the Secretary of State's website, you'll want to hover over Elections and Voting and click on Register to Vote. This is a good time to note that you can register to vote online, and you can also request an absentee ballot online. We've done videos on both. However, if you have some kind of extenuating circumstance and you would like to register on paper, you can click Register on Paper on the left here to download the form and then print it out. The forms are available in several different languages, as you can see. For our purposes, we'll walk you through the form. We'll not actually be printing it out. You'll need to have the physical form in front of you. Once you have the form, you should start by making sure that you're eligible to vote. You should be a US citizen and be 18 on or before the next election. This will be indicated by the boxes at the top of the page. After this, you want to continue with your personal information. Remember that only the darker shaded boxes on this form are required. If you don't know your school district, for example, as you can see towards the middle of the form, you don't have to fill that out. Remember also when you fill out your address that the first address you enter in this box should be the place where you reside. It should be your physical address. If you can't have mail delivered to that address, for example, if you have a post office box, that'll be the next box where you can provide a mailing address. Then you'll need to fill out your date of birth. And once you do that, we always recommend that you put down either your email address or your phone number. This is just so the Secretary of State can contact you if there's a problem with your registration form. You should put down whichever mode of communication you're more likely to check. Now you'll need to write down some kind of ID number. If you have a Minnesota driver's license or a state ID, you should use that. But the last 4 digits of your social security number work perfectly well if you don't. You don't need to have a Minnesota ID to register or to request an absentee ballot. For our purposes, we're using a random number. Should also be noted, if you don't have any of these numbers, you should check that 3rd box. The Secretary of State's office or your local Board of Elections will then get in contact with you and figure out how to get you registered. Finally, if you've been registered in Minnesota before, say under a different name or a different address, you should provide that info here. You use the address or name under which you were last registered. If you've not changed your name or your address, or you've never been registered in Minnesota before, then that section doesn't really apply to you. The last thing you need to do is validate the form, which means to sign and date it at the bottom. Make sure you put down the correct date. To turn in the form, there's going to be instructions on the back of it, or on the 2nd page in this case. Place it in an envelope with the needed postage and send it to the address listed here. Remember, the deadline to register by paper is 21 days before Election Day, so we encourage you to turn in the form as soon as you fill it out. It's always advantageous to get it in as soon as possible.